Alright, welcome, good evening, and hopefully the voice is being picked up, maybe? I don't know. Possibly. I'm gonna get this stream going. A little bit of time working on the project. Not a whole lot of time, but some time is better than no time. Alright, so when we were here last time, I was working on the collision system for this, and ultimately what I had to do, so I was trying to get the collision to be recognized by name instead of having to define the collision channel. So I'll go ahead and show you that. Cough, cough. Alright. So, if we go into the collision here, we've got some collision channels set up, and these are not convenient to talk to. These are literally a list order. It might even be stored as an enum. I'm not really sure how they... I think it's stored as an enum. That's populatable based on the naming conventions. That's my assumption. But these are literally stored from 1 to 18 because you get 18 channels and you get 18 of these guys, and then no, I don't need that. And then of course this doesn't refresh unless you... A little bit of a buggy thing. And there are my custom ones here. So this is not ideal. Working with it is not ideal, only for the fact that you have to count which one it is and go grab it. So for my player, to make it a little bit more convenient, I've got my collision channel. I got a temporary variable set, and then I literally went in and just counted which position it was for the player. Like I said, not the most ideal, but about the 7th down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then the enemy is 8, and then the coyote block that I'm building is 9. So I just stored that in a local variable so I can have it. But I may not need this. I'm just going to have it here in case I need it. Now you can grab the collision by the profile name. That is convenient. So if I want to set the collision of a body, I can do it this way, and then I don't have to manually go set up all the stuff. If I need to grant access to that channel, then I need to grab this. So this right here is going to be hanging out for my reference in case I need it. But yeah, I was stuck trying to grab by name for a little bit last time. The result that I was getting was false, and so I actually dug through the API to figure out what was going on with it, because like, okay, this isn't working. But yeah, so this is what I got here, and in this particular session I'm going to try to build the ground trace so that I can spawn this thing. I don't know how this is going to work because I haven't tried it yet, but my thought process is, and it's good to have a little brainstorming session to think about what you want to do. I want the character to, as he steps off the ledge, there'd be a thing that detects when the ledge is being stepped off of, and then within a certain frame spawn a block. But I don't know when to spawn that block, because if the character steps off the edge and doesn't jump, well, he should just fall, right? So I have to build the system to be smart enough to know when I'm going to jump, and that's going to be a bit tricky. What is the timing going to be? So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use this as a physical thing for the character to stand on in that moment for that one frame, or if I want it to be a simple overlap as he steps off, and if he's in that overlap within that step off time, have a custom jump out function that takes over. I really don't know yet. I'm going to test this one to see how it works. I anticipate it behaving a certain way based on experience. I'm expecting it to be a situation where I'm going to be chasing edge cases, where the player is going to, sometimes I don't want to jump, and I'm going to be waiting for this magical invisible block to disappear for one frame. And that's what I don't want that scenario, but I think that's what's going to happen, so I have to test it to make sure. Just because you think it's going to happen, it doesn't always happen once you have it written out, so that's what this is for, prototyping. Alright, so I'm going to create a function. I'm going to, let's see, I've got my voids up here. We've got some ints down here. I'll make a bool. This is going to be check ground. And I'm going to want to hit results. Let's go ahead and pass it into out hit. Okay. And I will implement this. Yes. I don't like it being here, so I'm going to move it where I want it. The order doesn't really matter, it's just convenience. I'm going to put this under move. Like I said, the order of it doesn't really matter. But because I'm going to be working between this and the move function, I think, a lot, I don't want to be scrolling up through walls of code to get to it. So, come on, where's move? Here, I'll put it after stop moving. Okay. What do I need? I want to make a line trace by channel, so I'm going to need some headers. I need to include the world header, so I think it's engine world. And then I also need some debug helpers, so include draw debug helpers.h. This would be a temporary one. If I'm not using it, I can always remove it, because you won't need the debug helpers. Like when I go to build the game for production, this I can probably remove. Where are we going? Alright, so what do I want? I think if. Let's make an if statement, and I'll do get world. And we need to do a line trace by channel. And I want... You could also do it by profile. That'd be pretty convenient. Let's see by profile what specifics I got here. Trace array against the world using a specific profile and return the first blocking hit. I don't want to do it against a specific profile because I could be standing on a ledge, I could be standing on any surface that has a ledge. I want to be able to check that ledge. So I don't want to do a specific profile. I think I'll just do a general line trace. So line trace single by channel. Alright, so in here, it wants a bunch of stuff. I do need to out-hit results, so I am passing that in. The start location and the end location of the ray. So let me go ahead and build those. My start location is going to be an F vector. Call this ray start. Let's do that at... I'm going to do it at the bottom of the capsule. And since the pivot of my character... No. I don't think that's the case. Hold on. I think Unreal has the capsule centered. I gotta take a peek. Need to know where this is going to be. If the capsule is centered, then I have to find the ground from center. So whatever the capsule half height is, I have to, you know, subtract half of it. So I need to know where it's at. I was thinking it was going to be at the bottom because when I built the player, I built it at the bottom. But I'm pretty sure it's at the center. And I'm still running into this bottleneck. Requested 1.5 gigabytes of memory per action. So it says I have 8 gigs available. I've got 64 gigs of memory, of RAM on this machine. And I keep getting bottlenecked. Like, I get it that I'm streaming, but why am I getting such a bottleneck? You guys can see Visual Studio, right? Okay. That's really annoying. Give me a second here. Let me refresh Streamlabs and BotBricks. Just in case people decide to chat, I should be able to see it. There we go, chat overlay has been refreshed. And let's overlay stream elements. And then I don't need this. Browser eats up a lot of memory. Try to only have a couple tabs, but let's see what else is consuming it all. I mean, OBS will take a chunk, but yeah, that's just so annoying. There's no reason for that. There's no reason to have that kind of bottleneck. Alright. Let's jump back into this thing. Oh, I don't need Task Manager. Where is L character? There he is. Oh, sorry. Characters. Let's take a look at the full blueprint. By the way, when you set collision profiles in the editor, You can set them in blueprints, so if I grab the capsule, for example, let me make it visible. Over here on the collision side of things, you can set it, your collision profile here, and then you can modify, any of these. Now this is grayed out because this is set in the presets that I created. You can always set it to custom and do whatever you want with it. All right. Let's see, what was I looking for? Oh, to see where the capsule's origin point was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the origin is center. If I drop Selden out into the world, yeah, the origin is center. So I have to go half the capsule height. So capsule half height is... I currently have it set to 83. No. Alright, so for my race start, I want to get actor location. And from the location, I need to subtract the up vector. So get actor up vector. And then the distance from the up vector is going to be can I just get the height? So get capsule, I guess components. I actually don't know what the difference is between getting the scaled half height versus getting the unscaled half height. But I can read the documentation for it. They should be right next to each other. Huh, they don't have any comments on it. I wonder if the scaled height is relative to the player's scale. So if I were to scale the player up or down, it gets the relative height of that. Well, we can experiment and see. So I want to get the half height, and I don't know why it says half height. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Sorry, I was working something out in my head. I was going to complain and say it says it's half height, but it's actually the whole capsule height. But that's not true. It is indeed the height from the center. So it's the distance up or down. So I should be able to subtract that from the up vector and then move down. So that'll be my start position. So ray start. For the ending position, how far down I want to go, probably just 10 units. So f vector ray end will be get actor location. And I will subtract from that. Actually, I'll simplify my work. I'm going to do it from the ray start. And I'll subtract down a little bit further. Well, maybe not. If I subtract it directly from the ray start, it'll subtract it from all the points on the vector, so I have to be very specific. So I could do the ray start dot z. And move down. So let's move down some number. I don't want to do a hard-coded number, so let's do a float. We'll call this ray distance. And I'll do 10 units. Will it not let me? No suitable constructor exists to convert double vector to float. Okay. Interesting. So what it's telling me is I just have to build a new vector, which is the same as doing f vector and then passing in ray start x, ray start y, and then ray start z. So in that case, I mean, doing this and then subtracting it from the up vector, this is the same thing. Just a different way of doing the same thing, basically. So this would be ray and... Okay. Collision channel, trace channel. So I don't actually have a trace channel, but I do have a collision channel that I want to check, and that's going to be if I go back to, where's my coyote block? That one's channel 9. I'll just steal this here from here. So That'll be my coyote block. Ah, come on, IntelliSense. What's the? I need to see the next thing. Why are you failing? The next one I think is query parameters. I think. Oh, I didn't semicolon this. That's why. Okay. Yeah, query parameters is next. And then collision response to channel is next. I never set query parameters for the other. I think I'll just use the default because I haven't set them. E-collision, where's query parameters? Stop being a jerk. That is... Oh, it's F collision parameters, not E collision. So F collision params, and then F collision params default. Let's see what the default happens to be. Default data being used without. Okay. So for that one, I'll just pass in my query params. And then for my response to channel, I'm pretty sure I just want to block. So F collision response. Pretty sure it's just collision response, right? It's only showing me one part of the overload. Hold on 1 second. Params and collision response params. And then pretty sure I can set blocking for that. It's multi. No additional info. Hey, welcome to the stream. Let's go to here. And actually, let me see if I can pass in a basic collision response. Can I set block? Yes. That is allowed. So if we do have a hit, we're going to return true. If we don't, we will return false. And if we do hit, we want to draw a debug line. So it is not built in that this... So if you do this in Blueprint, having a visual response is built into the Blueprint, but it is not built into the default line trace. So if this is successful, I'm going to want to see the line trace. So I need a debug draw ray, I think is... Oh no, that's Unity. What is it called in Unreal? Actually, let me see what the debug options are. Draw debug. I don't want a box. Let's do draw debug line. And pretty much everything is going to be about the same, except we don't have to deal with collision response. So I need the world position, and then so end world, and then line start, line end, and then the color, and a time for the line. So let's do, we need to do get world. That'll be the world parameter, and then for the start, it's going to be ray start, ray end. The color, let's do F color. If we do have a collision, we will do what makes sense? Should I do green if there is a collision, or green if there is no collision? I'll do red, I think, if I hit something. Where's red? And then however long I want this to be. Do I want it to be persistent? No. If I make the line persistent, it'll stay there all the time. So I'll do false. And then the lifetime of it, let's do 0.25. This is going to be ticking every frame, so I don't need to have this on for any long duration. And then death priority, what is the default? I think death priority is 1 by default. Okay. And then on the else, let's do I'll draw the ray, and it'll be red. Let's see. I'm doing red for hit and green for not hit, right? That might confuse me. Maybe I'll change it later. Okay, and then I want this ground check to be running all the time. So I'm going to throw it on tick. Let's just see if it shows up. That is true. I did say I wanted to take in a hit parameter. Let me take this off for now. That's gonna break. Let's come back up here and change that. For now, I will not call this here. I'll just call it here. Need to see if it shows up. And I actually need to change coyote block because I'm not scanning to see if I am hitting a coyote block. I'm scanning to see if I'm hitting anything else, and then I want to produce a coyote block. So I'll have to change that, but limiting max parameters to 7. That's lame. What's the point of having 12 physical cores and all the RAM? Tell you what, something is a RAM hog. I will eventually track down what it is one day. Like, it's throttling Firefox. Although Firefox is a known RAM hog. Look, Firefox takes up more memory than the Visual Studio does. OBS isn't actually consuming all that much. But Firefox is eating the crap out of that. Like, why are there 20 processes in Firefox? I only have 4 tabs open. I've got, well, 5 tabs. I've got Stream Elements. I've got Botrix, and I've got YouTube, so that I can be connected with the channel. Alright, let's go ahead and hit play. Okay, so there's the ray being cast. And it is being cast where I need it to be. That's good. Let's go. Can I change? Let's change my view. Because right now I'm looking at camera, but let's go ahead and pilot out. And I'll change this to a right view. Oh, I just crashed it, I think. I made it very unhappy trying to do that. Apparently, I cannot... Where is Selden? There he is. Okay, so why is that? It looks like I'm floating, doesn't it? He shouldn't be floating. Why? This object is the world background? Okay. Okay, there is a ground. There is actually a block here. I just couldn't see it because of the camera zoom. I have to adjust the clipping plane. But it looks like that's doing what I want to do. Okay. Let's hop out of there. Let's get a confirm on that hit. Where are you? Alright, right now I'm doing a coyote block, but I actually... Right now, I'll just head to the visibility channel. ECC. The visibility channel is basically any object that is considered visible is collidable. It's the same thing as setting it to everything. So how's your night going while I'm waiting for this to compile? What are you guys up to? My neck is crunchy. You guys do anything creative? Anything fun? It's mind-boggling. Why? And it's maxing out disk usage. But why? So like it'll the scratch disk is basically used when you run out of RAM, but I don't know why I have a RAM bottleneck. It's just annoying. I built this to not have a RAM bottleneck, but I have one anyway. Let's do this. What else is open? Steam is open. That doesn't need to be there. Let's turn off Windows security. Okay. I'm not getting a response. I did change it, right? I changed it to green. Yeah, so if I hit and if I get a blocking hit, it should be true. Okay, so I am getting that. So I confused myself. I was expecting it to be green on hit. Um, I should probably flip those. But I'm getting a hit confirmation because I'm checking visibility channel, and that means that Selden's line trace is hitting himself. Quit hitting yourself. Quit hitting yourself. So let me make this green, and then I'll make the other one red. So red for false and green for true. And instead of hitting visibility, let me get ECC world static. Since pawns are world dynamic, it should ignore the character. I'm not sure what get started is. And closing that didn't really matter. I mean, I don't need my printer, but that's probably not doing anything. That printer update's been there forever. I did a good deal on 4 sticks of dual channel RAM. Uh, 196 gigs. I think that's the max for this machine, 196. Of course, I can't find that for less than $1,000, so. Although the argument is if I got a hit. The argument is if I have, if I'm using dual channel and I have 4 sticks, I'm actually losing performance. I'm better off using 2 sticks to achieve my memory load. Now I should get a no hit when I am not touching the ground. Right, because I set it to red for no and green for yes. So let's do this. My wall channel is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Alright, so I'll use that one. And let me grab Selden. Let's open this. This boundary. Is player, and player should block these. It should block wall. Okay. I wonder why. Alright, let's use the wall channel. What did I say? It was 5, right? So instead of this being the coyote block, we'll do this as wall. And we'll use channel 5. Alright, query params. What are my options here? Let's see. Let's fire it up against the wall. While that's booting, I'm just going to go to Newegg and look at RAM options. I'm getting older and I can feel my cheeks starting to sag. I don't like it. I need to get some more collagen. It's happening only slightly, but I can just feel it. A little bit at a time. Alright, let's get some PC RAM here. So RAM. I want dual channel. And 196 gigs. This is just beyond a point of tolerance that I can deal with. Finding the capacity at the speed that I want is just a pain. Like everything I see is 16 gig, 16 gig, 16 gig. Like here is G-Skill, Ripjaw's M5 RGB. I don't need RGB, that doesn't matter. But it's only 64 gigs. It's two sticks of 32 gig for $514. It's like I already have that. Like, Trident Season Nero, 64 gigs, 4 sticks, dual channel, $269. Like, but that's too low. I need higher. I need more memory, not less. Still no go, huh? Like, none of these objects are set to wall, so this should be red the whole time. But it is green. Let me take a peek at the camera. Camera. Let's player controller, player camera. Okay. And then this boundary. What is it set to? Custom world dynamic. It is plausible that I'm hitting the camera, but I don't think so, because the boundary box here is outside of that. Yeah, the boundary for this should be well below this, even if they were, you know, objects that could collide with each other, but they shouldn't be. That's puzzling. There's an ant. Let's try. Let me see what I'm missing here. All right. Since I suspect I'm hitting the player, let's go ahead and ignore the player. Instead of doing default params, I guess I'll do what it says here. Let me see if I can. Let's try this here. Let's go to, I guess I can't go farther in. Let's go into this guy. Really? There we go. Alright, so under the collision parameters, we can set a tag. Um, so extra information filtering. We can create an owner tag. Whether it should trace against a complex collision. We can specify if it's an initial overlap. That's good. Whether we want to return the triangle face index of a complex static mesh trace. We can always get the material. That's always nice to know. In case you want to. So if you're if you made a Minecraft game, for example, all of your blocks are the same block, right? You just throw on a different texture. So if you want to know if that block is based on texture, if it's stone or wood or whatever, you could grab it and grab its material. I don't know that I would do it that way, but you could do it that way. Whether to ignore blocking results. Whether to ignore touch overlap results. What is a touch overlap versus an overlap? Or is it just touch or overlap? Whether to skip narrow phase checks only for overlaps. I need more information on a narrow phase check. Whether to ignore traces to the cluster union and trace against its children instead. Okay, and then replicate hit with subcomponents. Whether to replicate the hit of a cluster union or its children instead. Okay. Array of components to ignore. And then we have an array of actors to ignore. In case you're not sure, a component is any sub-object within an actor. And so if you had, in this case, I've got the character, and like the camera, if a camera's attached to him, that could be a sub-object. Or if he's carrying a sword or something, that could be a sub-object. Extra filtering done on the query. We could set a mask. We have a static ID. Okay. I was just thinking through the list whether or not I want to use it that way. Okay. Let's try doing it this way. So I should be able to set it. Let me try an F name. Oh, let me do a text. Do my ground trace. I guess if I'm going to do a filter. Trace complex. I'm going to set it to true just because other objects that I hit, well, it probably won't matter. I'm trying to think of if there's going to be a scenario where I have to hit complex collisions. So a complex collision would be, so normally you'd have a regular box for your collision. You might have a sphere component for your collision. But a complex collision would be using something like the object's own geometry. So like the player, each polygon on that object can actually be traced for a collision. That would be considered complex. It's more expensive to do complex collisions. But pretty much all the objects in the game have a simplified collision mesh. Even things that are super complex, I have a simplified collision for it. So I don't think complex is necessary. So I will say false. And then an actor to ignore. For the instigator, I will just say this. And let's go ahead and end that. Oof. While it's booting up, I'm going to search for more RAM. Yeah, when I was on Newegg, like I couldn't find anything that was what I needed for the price that I needed. I mean, I would drop $500 for good RAM, but I don't know about dropping $1,000 for the RAM. Why am I doing it through browser? I have the Newegg app. I'll grab the app. The app is good. Taking forever. It's so slow. What filters can I apply on my search? Filters, brand. What am I currently using? I think I'm using G-Skill. or G Skull. But I guess I don't really care. G Skull, Corsair. Kingston would be fine. Okay. Not really concerned about rating, but I do want to specify speed and capacity. I guess I'll do 128 gigs since 196 is not on the list here. I don't remember the speed on this motherboard. The optimal RAM speed, I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. Latency. Color. I don't care about the color of the RAM. RAM speed. DDR5 for sure. What is my MOBO? I don't know. I'll continue looking at that in a minute. Let's see what this test does. It's still hitting. And then we got confirmation. Okay, cool. So it was hitting the character. Nice. It's still hitting the wrong surface. It's supposed to be hitting wall surfaces. But that is a positive check at the moment, at the very least, that it is hitting other things and not just hitting the player. Okay. What is this object's collision? Set to collision set to block all. I mean, I don't mind that it's hitting this. I'm just curious to why it's hitting this when it's set to hit the wall. But right, so the thing I want to be hitting should be the oh, that's the trace channel that the ray is in. So the channel that this object exists in. Okay. So I can create a channel for it. Okay. Close enough. All right. So what else do I want to do? Let's see if we can get... What can I grab from my hit result here? Oh, and you know what? While I'm here, I wanted to check query parameters. That takes a long time to navigate to that. That must be really far down the rabbit hole, or it must be a big file. Nobody knows how slow this code is. Alright, well that figures itself out. Let me, so F hit result, we got our time of impact. We got location. So impact location should just be the local space, yeah. So location in space of the actual construct or contact of the trace with impacted object. So impact point, normal of the hit in the world for the object that was swept. A sweep is just a collision check. We can get the normal of the surface. I probably want the impact normal though. Anyway, impact normal is the normal of the hit in space for the object that was hit by the sweep, yeah. So what I would want to do is from the impact normal is then go forward some bit until I hit the edge of the wall and then get that impact normal. We're going to have to do something similar for ledge hanging and ledge climbing as well. Except the location would be different, so that would be closer to like chest height to trigger the wall hang. It would check the ledge some distance into the ledge and then up to see if there's enough space for the character to get up on. If there's no space, then then wall hanging wouldn't be allowed, you know. But you'll get to see when I set that up. These both work in a similar way. Okay. I want to see. Okay, let's try to build this function here. So we got the ground check that I can use. I can use it for. I need it for multiple. I need the ground check for multiple things anyway. Unreal does have a default ground check that I could use. So it's a little redundant, but it's fine. Because I have to get the impact normal of it anyway. Alright, but I want from this, I want to get the F hit results out from it. And so this will be the out hit. And let's throw this back into the function. Where are you at? Yes. I need to get this hit result because I have to use the parameters for it. Why are you failing? I guess it just took IntelliSense to catch up, a second or two to catch up. So I'm going to get rid of the out hit here. I'm going to pass in the out hit. I don't need this. I'm going to pass in the out hit here. That way, whenever this fires, it'll return whatever the out hit is. I do have to pass this in when I call it. So I need somewhere to store it that isn't local. Now I could make this function an F hit result. That way I can just run the function and pull the hit result from it. But I do like returning true and false if the hit hits, because I can always pass that into something else. But you know what? I don't have to do that. I don't have to actually pass in the hit result of the ground check if the thing that I'm returning to is something that I should always be able to reference. So I can skip this and just create a class variable that I can pass into here to get out of. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. That looks fancy and all, but I don't need to do that. Instead, I'll make a hit result. It's combat stuff. Default stuff. I don't know what to call this little category. I'll just do ground check for now. Wonderful naming convention. Should make a U property. This technically doesn't need to be blueprint accessible, but I do want to look at it. This should be blueprint read only though. And this is going to be, I'll call this one environment interactions. And I think that's what I'm going to call this as well. My brain sometimes has to catch up with itself. If hit result, this is going to be ground check results. Okay, and then from here, what do I want? I want a I can build a ledge check. I'm trying to think if I can use the same ledge check to check both ledges. I don't think so. Because the behavior is different. Because if I'm standing on a ledge, or if I'm standing on a surface, I'm checking ahead to find the ledge. Whereas for the ledge hang, if I'm falling and I encounter a ledge, it needs to scan the ledge and scan upward to see if the surface is clear. So those are going to be two separate behaviors. So for this one, I'll do it as a bool. I don't know if I need to yet, but it'll be I don't know. I can do check ground ledge. And then let's go ahead and create that here. I'll just steal your signature. A little bit of identity theft. You know, never hurt anybody, right? Not like I've never been hacked before. Check ground ledge. I was just debating on whether or not I need these to be separate. Ground hit result. Sorry, I was debating on whether or not I wanted to do all this within the same code body. Basically, I can. I could just do a nested if and have a bunch of stuff happening. There's no real harm in doing that since a lot of this is going to be the same. But I think it'd be cleaner to just have it as a separate function. So I'm going to borrow a chunk of this. And then rewrite it. So for this, distance being 10 units is probably not enough. I'll probably make the distance 20 units. The race start is not going to be at the player anymore. It is going to be at the impact normal. So race start is going to be ground check hit results dot. I want to get the impact normal. And then the end of that is going to be the impact normal. So raise start, and we want to go out a distance, so I'll say plus. Get actor forward vector. And we want to do that by the trace distance. So array distance. That should be a function. Hello? There we go. Okay. This one will not be the ground ledge check. It'll be the ground ledge check hit result. So ground ledge Sorry, just run code in my head again. Because if I convert this from a bool to a hit result, I can pass the ground check directly into the ground ledge check, and then I can pass the ground ledge check into the spawn of the other object. But they become dependent upon each other, so that's probably unsafe. I'll go this route and then I'll clean it up later, I think. So ground ledge check. Wow. Should really come up with better names. I will be consistent. Check ground ledge hit result. And this is why I was just thinking of that, because it just seems silly to create a variable to store what I could just output from the function itself. But it's fine. And actually, I don't need this one. This one I can do f hit result. And I'll just do that as out hit. Why are you mad at me? Nope. Weird. Alright, I will create you outside of the operation. Not sure why it was mad at me creating it in line, but what else? Okay, and then this. So for this one, the opposite will be true. In this case, if we're hitting nothing. Alright, of course we want to ignore the player. We'll keep it at wall. What else do I want for this? I'll leave it as ground trace. The instigator will be itself. I think that's okay. I'm going to call that function within here. So if we do hit the ground, we can check for the ledge. So check ledge. And then, so if this is successful, it'll then fire this one. And then if that one's successful, we should see a readout from that point. And while that's doing that, I'll go back to surfing Newegg. Actually, let me look up my motherboard real quick. My motherboard is... it's a Tough Gaming. It's not a 570. Jesus. I can find it in my Amazon list. Alright, that one's firing. Let's hit F1. I don't see the other one firing. Would it not fire? Where's my orders? Not a Z390. I'll have to look at my board. Alright, so why is this thing not going forward? Let's double check my thought process here. We'll just flag this and see what happens. Ground check. Hit result. We have a normal. Alright, it's just giving me the... Yeah, I'm getting the normal, but I'm not getting the location. So the location's not useful. I need to get the location. Let's see, impact point. Location in world space of the actual contact of the trace shape box sphere array with the impacted object. Before that, the location in space where the location in space where the moving shape would be up against the impacted object if there is a hit, equal to the point of impact for line tests. Yeah, so I'll grab impact point. So impact point. One second. I'm going to search my hardware. So device manager. My generic Bluetooth adapter. Let's take a look at that. Bluetooth adapter code 43. That's not why I'm looking here. Where is my Mobo? Peripherals. Computer. Why is that not in my list here? Cameras, display adapters. Don't know. I don't remember what it was. Did I drop that back here? Where did I put that? I may have put it in the closet. Whoop. you doing, Mobo? I should still have the box around here because I generally keep boxes of computer components. Okay, that's good. Anyhow, and fire. There we go. So there's my impact and there's my trace. Now it's only tracing one direction because I'm doing the forward vector. So I'll have to account for when I'm looking at the direction. So here you can see that there is no ledge. This says that there is a ledge. But there shouldn't be a ledge. There's a ledge here, but not here. I wonder why that would read. Weird. I want to check it, but let's do this. I'll eject, and let's go to my front view. And this broke things last time, but we'll do it again. Let's not do from front, let's do from right. So yeah, so there's my contact point, and there is the trace. So why then? I wonder why this one fails. That's bizarre. Because obviously we have a point of impact from when this hit, you know, the ground. I have complex trace off, so that should not be an issue. Although I do find it interesting that the character is technically floating above the platform. But let me turn on show collision. Let's see where the collision boundary is. I need to shrink that one. That's weird. I could have sworn I removed that one. But that doesn't answer my mystery question of why collision is here, clearly off the object. I wonder if that's just a drawing artifact. Yeah, because this is not a direct impact right here. And it's not going to be colliding off of the physics body. This is going to be ignored. This is only used for, you know, like ragdolling and that sort of thing. Okay, so that says there's no impact there. We do have an impact with the ground here, but there is no ledge. This says there is a ledge, but why is that not being confirmed here? There should most certainly be a ledge here. Let's go back and pilot this. From perspective. Let's see if this one's using complex collision. I think this is complex because you know, this is using every face, but I'm not actually in contact with this, so I should be okay. This BSP should be simple. Rush component, collision type, well, that does make sense. It's generate overlap events is checked to be false, but I am getting an overlap event from here. And I can check this to be on. And let's move him real quick. Yeah, so that's not the case. That is weird. I don't know why that would be. Can step up on is true. That just means that if I step on or off of it, I can climb back up. We can kind of see that in action. If we jump back in. So if I grab this, and say no to step up on. I should not be able to climb up on that ledge. It allowed me anyway. What if I move it? Yeah. It wasn't supposed to allow me, but it let me anyway. It might just be low enough that it doesn't matter. Now out here on the world, I don't expect this to trigger for this one, but this one is triggering, so that means that this one should also trigger. I wonder if it's just above it, like fractionally above it. I don't know. That's weird. That is puzzling. So that does what I expected to do, except it should totally be green here. And this one's green here. But let me check the collision of this object. Can step up on is true. Generate overlap events is not on. Collision preset is set to default. Update overlap methods. Condition for calling update overlaps to initialize overlap state during live streaming, or sorry, level streaming. If set to use configure default. Okay. Shame. I want to get the impact normal for the second trace, but I want to get it to when it's no longer in contact with the object. So I may have to draw another line out. Well, it's about 10:18. I think one thing I will do before I hop off is just flip the direction. I mean, the direction isn't all that important for the moment, but just for kind of show proof of concept. This will not be very clean, but I can do this. The default direction for forward is going to be to the right. So I can do a quick if statement here. If direction is E facing left, then boom, 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 boom. I'll just redefine this. Let me try this way first, and then if this doesn't come out the way I want, I'll do negative this, which would account to the same thing anyway, so I think it's fine. I was overthinking when I shouldn't be thinking at all, because I'm a little bit on the special side. My brain is not always working. Oh, it reminds me I gotta order some other stuff. And then that way. Cool. And let's see if we can... I'll need a reference to the coyote block. I'm going to do it quick and dirty. I need to include in... What is this called? The full address would be... slash environment. Let's check ground, check ledge. Yeah, I'm gonna need a reference to the coyote block. So, let's make the coyote block here. We need a class. Okay. And I'll do this on the false incarnation of this. Actually, I'll do it after the draw line. It doesn't really matter. We'll say if coyote block is a null pointer, then we will create one. So coyote block That'll be get world spawn actor. Let me try passing in directly. Where are you at? Cavity block. Static class. And then we have the we need to get the transform of where to spawn from. So the given transform in this case will be the I may have to do a second trace actually. I can do a trace within a trace. I don't want to do that. If I get it at because the horizontal line is going to be starting at the original impact normal, but that will be the first impact of this line. So I want to get it when it's technically not in contact with anything. Because I don't want to get the impact normal, because the impact normal would be at the moment that this trace starts. Because it's going to be starting inside the block, and that's going to count as a hit. On the hit result, do I have the option to grab? No, I don't want to grab the impact normal. Okay. If this test started in penetration, and a depenetration vector can be computed, this value is the distance along normal that will result in moving out of penetration. If the distance cannot be computed, this distance will be 0. Don't know that I can use that, but maybe. Another option that I can do is, instead of tracing out from, so if I'm hitting the point and then I'm tracing out some distance, instead of doing that, I can start out from some distance and trace back to my point. Flip it, and then it'll give me the result that I want. So that could work as well. Because I will want that impact normal, so that I have well, the impact point might be fun. I can try doing it off of penetration depth. If this works the way that I think it's working, it should give back how far along the vector. So I can just do that off of that normal as the location. So let me try this one first. So instead of running this scan twice, I'll take the out hit, and then so the spawn location will be the out hit dot and the penetration distance and the let's do impact normal. Actually, the impact point. But that would be a vector without a... Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do it off the normal. So impact normal. Although that might give me the up vector, but I will see. And then I could do it off of the player's forward. That guarantees me a forward vector. I think I'll do that. But let me do this first, and we'll do out hit dot penetration depth. So out hit impact point plus. And then our spawn actor, we need another world transform that this is going to go to, so that's going to be the spawn location. Spawn location. What else do we need? Spawn parameters. What is it? F spawn parameters? Spawn parameters. I'll drop a comment in here and I'll be able to see it. F actor spawn parameters, yeah. So F actor spawn parameters. We want this to an actor to use as a template when spawning a new actor. I was looking for always spawn, but I don't see it. There should be an option to always spawn. So if you try to spawn an object within another object, it will fail to spawn most of the time. Prevents things being fused together. I don't see the option. I was gonna go to bed like half an hour ago. Let's go to spawn actor. Can you really not gonna go all the way out there? Well, I guess it is showing me the overload for it. Kinda. I wanted to see the whole list. If I pass nothing in, what happens here? No instance of overload function. Spawn actor matches the argument list. No. I'll just do FA spawn parameters, and I'll do determines whether spawning will not fail if certain conditions are not met. If true, spawning will not fail because the class being spawned is B static true, or because the class of the template actor is not the same as the class of the actor being spawned. I'll set the flag and see if I can do it. Alright, well, I'll do this as spawn. We'll just do it like this. So the first thing on that list let me go here. F1 spawn actor. Okay, name of actor being spawned. I don't remember having to do this for when I was spawning in the spaceships. I don't remember that being a situation. But I'll give it a name. Alright, so we got text, and we're going to do coyote block. The U level to spawn the actor, i.e. outer. Oh, I gotcha. It wants to know, so if you're using like a level streaming system, parts of the level can be unloaded at a certain amount of time. At a certain point in time, specific parts of the level could be not loaded in. So it's just saying, hey, what part of the level do you want to load it in? Package overridden. So I'm going to go to StarQuest, and let me open up the source file for... Okay, so ships spawn, ship gets spawned from the planet. So I'm going to open up environment stuff. Let's open up planet CPP. I mean, a star spawns planets, so I can always look at that as well. Let me see. When I spawned this object, okay, so spawn planet. Yeah, so when I did it from here, I just passed in the planet and the start location and the rotation. Yeah, I didn't have to deal with the nonsense of that defined. But I'm using spawn actor from template. So let me go ahead and do that over here. Spawn actor. Let's do it from template. And then and then for this one I'll do an F rotator. And we'll just do 0, 0, 0. Now this may fail. I may have to use a T subclass to spawn that class, but we'll see. Yeah, because this one I'm using sub classes for that. And in theory, if it does spawn, I shouldn't spawn an infinite number of these things. I should only spawn one. So it's rolling. See if it crashes. Well, I don't see a million of these things being spawned in, so let's see. Any coyote blocks? Nope. That's interesting. That's actually really interesting. So remember it wasn't firing earlier? And so that's going, and then I get to here. So that is generating a hit on that wall. It's not generating a hit on the face. So then why would this one... Hold up, wait a minute. Let me take a look at this thing. From the right. Am I using a precise collision? Show collision. Yeah, so the collision that I'm using for this object is not good. Let's go back to perspective real quick. Go to this object's definition. Collision, show. Simple collision should just be this box. Let's show complex collision. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think I'm using complex collision for this guy. have set. Where is collision for him? Set the project default, which should be simplified. I'm pretty sure the default is simple collision. So it should default to this. But there is a curved ledge. I wonder if that's intentional. I wonder if Unreal intentionally does this little curve on the ledge to make them easier to step up on. I could test it by throwing in a random box. Let me check another object. Static meshes here. What do I have that's a simple box? Grab a bridge piece. That'll work. Okay. Show simple. Yeah. It does it on the bottom as well. It rounds off the corner. I'm guessing that's intentional to keep it from snagging. Sharp corners can hook onto things. Still, I don't think that would be a problem. Let's go back to this thing. That would also explain why the character hovers off of it by like a few millimeters. Potentially. Let's go here. Nope, I lied. That what's up, Selden? You look kind of creepy. This is way off from there. Okay, that's even more mind-boggling than before. It should not be from the physics component. It should be gathering it from the capsule. But his foot is on the thing. Well, I can check to see if he moves whenever I throw a punch. I'm gonna throw a kick rather. Capsule position does not change, so I don't think that has anything to do with it. That's a little bit trippy. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's reading there. I was gonna move it, but it doesn't seem like it wants to go very far. So 168, let's move it up to 169. That just pushes him up. Let's teleport it. 170. 180. 300. Weird. I don't know why that's... Like, it's hitting this collision boundary and clipping through. But it's not catching this wall. Alright, let's go back here. Oh. Let's move this up. To here. I'll have them both running, so it doesn't really matter which one goes. But I haven't seen an error that says I need to use a T subclass, so far we're okay. I mean, it could be that it is being blocked from spawning, and that I have to go and tell it to ignore. Come on, you. Stop taking 20 years. This does run a little bit faster when I'm not streaming, but it's inconsistent. Sometimes it runs just fine. I don't know why Firefox takes so much, though. But this is constantly bottoming out. Like, what do I have that is running 60 gigs right now? Seriously. I've got Visual Studio open, and I've got the stream going. The GPU's not breaking a sweat. It's running at a cool, 36 degrees? Let's grab Selden, and we'll grab the Cody block reference object. It says there is one loaded. Did it just pop in? Was that what that was? Let's see if that pops up. Huh. Bizarre. All right. But it's about 11, quarter after 11. I'm going to go to bed. And I will dig around and see what I can figure out for why that's not going where I need it to go. But thank you for sticking around with me as I fumble through some C++. And I'll see you next time.